Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. We are continuing on with the fanfiction that we started. I don't even remember if I said the title of it in the last one because I ended up talking so much, but this one is called The Shape of Summer, and it is written by me, Beauty and the Bookshelf, and we are continuing on with chapters 2 and 3 today. So, chapter 2, Heat in the Kitchen. He'd expected a normal morning, coffee orders, pastry displays, and maybe a few bad jokes from Kaminari. What he hadn't expected was Bakugo, standing there like the best mistake he'd ever made, and yet, somehow, it was perfect. Awkward, sure. Unexpected, absolutely. But perfect in that maybe this means something kind of way. He told himself to chill, play it cool, pretend his heart hadn't nearly launched itself out of its chest the second their eyes met. "So," he said casual as they stepped into the back room, "didn't think I'd see you again." Bakugo didn't look at him. Yeah, funny how shit works out. Kirishima waited, hoping for something, a grin, a jab, even a spark of recognition in his eyes. But all he got was Bakugo pulling out a chair like this was just another job, another checklist to get through. "So, onboarding," Bakugo said flatly, arms crossed, eyes on the floor. "Let's just get it over with." "Right, okay." Kirishima cleared his throat and grabbed the paperwork. His fingers twitched, wanting to say more. "We could talk about it, you know. It meant something to me." But the words stayed buried behind a careful smile. Across from him, Bakugo kept his jaw tight, like he was bracing for impact. Of course it's him. Of course it's fucking Eijiro. The universe had a bad sense of humor, and apparently it liked reruns. One few days of heat and chaos and unexpected softness, and now, here they were, boss and baker, hands off, pretend it never happened. This is exactly why he didn't do feelings. He grabbed a pen, avoiding eye contact. "We don't need to complicate this," he muttered. "Let's just forget it." Kirishima's chest went tight, but he nodded like it didn't matter. "Yeah, sure, no big deal." He didn't mean it. Bakugo probably didn't either, but they both pretended like they did. Chapter 3, Brewing Tension. He came in early, hoping the stillness would calm the nerves buzzing beneath his skin. The espresso machine hissed in the background, steady and rhythmic. The cafe smelled like vanilla and fresh coffee, warm and familiar, but the comfort didn't quite reach him. Something inside refused to settle. The morning checklist was nearly done, registers balanced, menus updated, milk restocked, but his hands still wouldn't stop fidgeting, betraying the calm he was trying to project. Bakugo was due in any minute, and Kirishima still didn't know what to say to him. Well, no, that wasn't true. He had a lot of things to say. Things like, "Those few days meant something to me," or "Why did you leave without saying goodbye?" or even, "I missed you." But none of those things were safe, not with Bakugo acting like they'd never met. The door creaked open. Kirishima straightened instinctively, running a hand through his hair as Bakugo walked in like a storm cloud with a scowl. "Morning," Kirishima said, trying to keep it light. Bakugo grunted and returned, tossing his bag into the lockers and pulling on an apron with sharp, efficient movements. He didn't meet Kirishima's eyes. Kirishima cleared his throat. "Coffee's fresh if you want some." "Black," Bakugo muttered, already moving past him to the back counter. "Right, of course." They worked in near silence for the next half hour, the clink of metal trays, the low hiss of the espresso machine filling the space where conversation should have been. Kirishima kept sneaking glances, hoping for something, a smirk or a jab, some flash of the guy he'd shared moonlight and hotel sheets with. But Bakugo was locked down tight, focused, avoidant, and downright cold. Kirishima hated it. By the time the doors opened, the tension in the kitchen was thick enough to cut with a bread knife. Out front, Kaminari bounced behind the register, all bright smiles and bad jokes. Shinso leaned against the pastry case with a mug of coffee, watching the kitchen like he could see the emotional minefield brewing behind the swinging door. "Your face is doing a thing," Kaminari said, poking his boyfriend's arm. Shinso didn't look away from the back room. "What thing?" "The scrunchy thing. You're suspicious of something." Shinso blinked. "Because I am." Kaminari grinned. "It's probably nothing. Those two are just both intense as hell. Put 2 sharks in a tank and they'll circle a bit." Shinso sipped his coffee. In the kitchen, the storm finally broke over something stupid. Kirishima moved to grab a tray just as Bakugo reached for the same one. Their fingers brushed. They both froze. Bakugo snapped. First, "You're in the way." Kirishima's eyes narrowed. "I'm literally standing where I always stand." "Then maybe you should rethink your damn setup." "You're the new guy," Kirishima said, trying to stay calm, but feeling the heat rising in his chest. "Maybe try not acting like you own the place." Bakugo snapped his head around, eyes blazing. "Back off. I was hired to do a job, so quit acting like you gotta babysit me." Kirishima watched him, frustrated and confused and a little bit hurt. This wasn't the guy who kissed him slow under the stars. This wasn't the guy who whispered his name like it meant something. This was someone distant, a stranger wearing the face of someone he thought he knew. By the time the shift ended, the air between them was still charged, but quieter. Kirishima wiped down the counter, eyes flicking over to Bakugo, who was gathering things without a word. He wanted to say something, anything, but the words stuck in the back of his throat. Bakugo didn't look back as he walked out the door. Back out front, Shinso watched him go, eyebrows furrowed. Kaminari popped a cookie into his mouth, bizarrely unaware. "You know, I think Bakugo might actually like working here. He just doesn't know how to smile." Shinso didn't answer. He just kept watching the door. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed those 2 chapters. Feel free to subscribe or like the video. The likes help me out, and the subscription lets you know when I post a new video. The next piece will probably be chapters 4 and 5. I'll have to relook over them before I record them, but that's the plan as of right now. So I hope that I see you guys next time for that next piece. Bye.